People said male characters don't sell, and well, Luuk just proved them right. On February the 15th, I published a video about male characters and why they don't sell well. I brought evidence and explained some of the reasons why it happens, and some people either didn't like it or doubted that Luuk would suffer the same fate. In this video, I'll show you Luuk's sales and some of the misinfo being spread around online about his performance in JP. I'm JP and let's get into it. Let's start right away with arguably the most important country in this whole equation, CN. So as you can see, Luuk has gotten 2.76% ownership at the beginning of his banner. That would make him one of the least owned characters, which is already a bad sign. However, after his banner ended, he had a whopping 3.77% ownership, which would still make him the least owned character according to this website. Now, obviously, this doesn't tell us the full picture, since this is only on CN and only a portion of the player base. And because of that, I brought in this case, the polar opposite, JP, which people have been misinterpreting the data and thinking that Luuk's performance was better than in actuality. Now, the difference between JP and CN is kinda like night and day. A lot of people have been saying that Luuk has sold really well, but it's not as straightforward as it seems. He ranked 11th out of 32, and yeah, that doesn't look bad at first, but it's far from being good, especially when you look at the full picture. If we look at characters before Kartetia, they all had great sales. After Kartetia though, the game got a bit more stale when it comes to the JP side of things. That is until Shisa. That was clearly a character that would become a JP favorite. She showed up and stole the show. Now, after Shisa, we get into Lahai Roi, a region that took away some of that staleness, getting excellent sales on all Lahai Roi characters. That is, until Luuk. He was the worst selling character in Lahai Roi so far, even including Shisa. So yeah, unfortunately, people are comparing him to older banners to make him look better. But that is not how you judge performance. And all that shows us that his performance wasn't as good as it looked at first. But looking on the positive side, he still is the best performing male character, only behind Xian, the launch character, at least in JP. So when it comes to male characters, Kuro is learning how to make them. Now let's check out the global side. The least important out of the three, but still very familiar to us. And I'll just get straight into it. It's the same trend as JP. He sold less against any other Lahai Roi character. Now the other trend in JP, he was the best sold male character if we take out Jian. So let's check his performance against other male characters. And it turns out Global didn't like him as much as other male characters, being only above Xiang Liao, a character given for free. So yeah, you could see out of the three regions, only one of them had actually good sales. Even when you compare him to a character like Shakona, that was in a similar position as him, she had sold him in most regions too. Now for the final nail in the coffin. Let's look at the data combined across all regions. Now, since people online compared him a lot to Yuno, I wanted to bring up that comparison as well, but across the three regions. What I want you to look at here is that across all three regions, Yuno got 94th in the top grossing category, while Luuk got 179. So yeah, even with this limited info, we can see that he also got outsold by an older character. Now, let's move on to the next session. Why did Luuk actually fail? First, a big part of the audience that wanted male characters already left the game. The demand just isn't there anymore. Second is timing. Releasing him next to Amet meant players had a much more appealing option right next to him. And third, and this is the biggest one, he doesn't appeal to the core audience of the game, and that leads to the real problem with male characters in this game. Now, a lot of people would say that male characters are unfixable. However, I think that at the very least we can make them sell better with some ideas that I will bring up here. When I made my last video, I said that obviously this game has a lot of male players, even more than a game like SSR, and that's one of the biggest reasons why male characters fail. So how can we fix this? The answer is simple. Make male characters for male players. Make characters like Finon, make characters like Leon Kennedy from Resident Evil. Make more characters like Ashlyn. The point is, instead of trying to make male characters that appeal mainly to female players, they should design male characters that male players actually want to play. By making this decision, you will not only appeal to your primary target audience of the game, but you'll also satisfy female players enough to keep them in the game and pulling. Now, I'm sure this type of change still wouldn't be enough to reach the same level of sales as female characters do, but it would get a whole lot closer. And that was why Luuk failed to capture a majority of the player base. If you like this video, please consider subscribing, leave a comment about your thoughts, and joining our Discord. We are daily active. See you in the next one.